Shall we? I'm just going to sit here.
I got a new pair of Chicago on.
Socks?
Chicago.
Can I just pretend to sit? Because we sit for like 10 seconds and then we
know.
get back up again.
Just go ahead. You get to make noise first, though.
Is everybody ready?
The quitter? That's what I call it when I see it.
Okay.
Ready?
Who are we missing down there?
The quitter.
Oh, shoot. It's been a long day. Okay, let's kick this thing off. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Elizabeth Vickery, Frontier Girl Liberty Award, part of her reward is for her to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to come around with her, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance together. So you need to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And there's a flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now she gets a bag. The cops are going to tilt the room.
Jack, what did you do?
Yeah. What?
It's personal.
Can we have roll call, please?
I suppose. Councilmember Miller.
Here?
Councilmember Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Lane.
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Vice Mayor Best.
Here.
And Mayor Croft.
Here. Okay, let's go on to introductions, presentations, and proclamations. 2A, presentation regarding Head Start programs and services by Family Advocacy Representative Nancy Meek and Virginia Jarquin. Are either of those two ladies here?
Oops.
Okay, that'd be hard to do a presentation from somewhere else. We'll go on to call to the public. Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. The total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration, and decision at a later date or respond to criticism. Is there anyone for call to the public? Yes, sir. Please step up and tell us your name, sir.
My name is Ed Twitmeyer,
How do you spell your last name, sir?
Twitmire.
All right. Thank you. And you had comments?
Pardon?
Did you have comments?
Yes, I do.
What's that?
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to speak to you unless you wanted to know who I
We want to know that too.
was. I ain't a college graduate, but I did graduate
well.
from school.
Me too, but I don't know what happened to it.
This petition I have here, they didn't have a machine to copy the signatures with the addresses.
So they typed it out quick with the people's addresses on it, and I can get it re-signed. We thought the meeting was next week,
Okay,
and I just received this about 15 minutes ago.
okay.
But it concerns Aztec Drive, East Aztec Drive, off 1 East, between 1 North and 2 North.
Okay.
It's a dirt road. It's never been paved. I have to call down to the city building to have them come out and grade it. And they tell me that, well, we'll be out every 6 weeks. Well, it's been a couple months. But that isn't what the main concern is. The main concern is all these people here that live in Roadrunner Trailer Park. Because when the vehicles go up and down Aztec, it creates a whirlwind of dust. And if somebody goes down there the speed limit that's on the sign, which is 25, I never go down there any more than 15. It creates so much dust for everybody. And they're having a hard time breathing over there.
Okay.
And a lot of people are on oxygen. And they all agreed that something needs to be done with this. The city keeps telling me they're broke. They can't do anything. Well, we don't care. If they can't do anything, we'll get a lawyer. Thank you.
Would you give that paper to our town manager over here, and she'll,
Oh, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Whitmire.
Thank you.
Anyone else for call to the public? Mary, please come up.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, how are you, Mary?
Mayor Croft, Vice Mayor Best, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to talk. My name is Mary Connor. I am the Administrative Assistant for Supervisor Brown, District 4, Yavapai County Board of Supervisors. He couldn't be here tonight, but I'm here in his stead to let you know about the Arizona Sunshine Fest that is coming to Prescott Valley Event Center on June 15th and 16th. And this is the 3rd annual event, and basically what it is, it's a great opportunity for the Yavapai County citizens to go and obtain free medical, dental, and vision services, regardless of their insurance status or their income. It's basically no questions asked. You come, we provide services, and last year they had approximately 800 people, and this year they would like to have over 1,200. It's been real successful, and they are also providing transportation from certain places this year. And of course, I'm concentrating on District 4, so we already have a large turnout that is expected to come from Seligman. So we're trying to gather people along Ash Fork and along that same route to bring them down. So if anybody is in need of transportation, you know, they just need to contact Arizona Sunshine, and you all got a little postcard, and the information is listed on that postcard, or contact me. I'd be happy to set something up. And the little things that we take, you know, for granted, like even a photo or a haircut or just personal hygiene and grooming. Some people don't have that, and they go to the Arizona Sunshine, I call it a festival, and they get all those little details. The health department is well represented, so, you know, I would just really like to get the word out and let everybody know that this is happening. They also have a VIP day. I don't know if any of you have been on the tour, but if you're interested in attending, let me know, and I'll get you that information and help you get, you know, a VIP tour. So it's an awesome opportunity for the public, and I just wanted to, you know, say it in a public venue. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, I'm here.
Okay.
You all should have the postcard in front of you, so. Yes.
I'm short one.
Oh, you don't have one?
No, I got left out. Thank you.
Again, I did leave some cards with Jamie, you know, and she's going to put them out where the public can see them. And so,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, anyone else for, come up, Elizabeth, with the microphone, please.
For one thing, thanks for letting me do the Pledge of Allegiance with you. And I would like to know if we get a sign on the north side of the sign here, because we can't see it from the north side.
You know, when you're driving, the sign that sticks out. We usually drive past it, turn around and come back.
Madam Town Manager, will you take that project on?
We threatened many times to come in the middle of the night and get some stencils and, black paint, but,
That would be interesting.
Hey, if you give me permission, I'll get his stencils. She has art now this turn, so.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Anyone else? Yes, sir. I see you in strange places now.
I don't know. Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Kazicki, 2810 North Navajo Place here in Chino Valley.
How do you spell your last name, John?
Spell Kuzicki. I'm also a local realtor.
Yeah.
And I'd like to speak to you a little bit about Old Home Manor tonight. And number one, I'll take my hat off to you, because a lot of people come up to me and say it's a miracle. They never thought it would happen. And I tell them I've had the pleasure of working with many people here in Chino Valley that are knowledgeable, experienced, and professionally dedicated. And they've really made what's happening out there happen. So I take my hats off to all of you and everybody in the town. Next, a little different venue. I've kind of had this conversation with Yavapai County Development Services, and they're a very good organization also. And as a realtor, when you call in there, they try to be efficient, and they drill down in the questioning as to where to direct you and where to get you in front of the right person, so on and so forth. And I've had to talk to the director over there and tell him that there are certain things that are confidential or sensitive in nature, and I can't reveal everything to everybody that picks up a phone.
Sure.
So he understands that, and we're kind of on the same page of that. So along that line, you're a little bit unique with Old Home Manor, because you are now developers. And there are local people right across the street with private property that have private property right interest and hire agents to represent them, so on and so forth. So they have an interest there. I have to come to you as a realtor. I have to find out about zoning, setbacks, permits, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot I have to disclose to you as the town. So I think at some point there's got to be some confidentiality that we have to come together on. You as a town developer and us as developing for private citizens. And let's see. Also along the Old Home Manor, is any part of the Old Home Manor currently for sale or for lease? Okay, because I've heard differently from...
You're talking about the industrial park?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, okay, but
No.
And the reason I bring that up is I've heard differently from other realtors.
Boy,
Okay.
that ought to let us know.
Mayor,
Yeah.
you can't
I
answer.
can't answer you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine.
Sorry. That's an open meeting law.
That's fine. And another thing along the Old Home Manor perspective for the town, when you begin to sell, when you begin to lease, it's zoned industrial out there. It has very, very few restrictions on it. That land potentially could be used for medical marijuana usage, adult stores, whatever. It's open to it under the zoning. Would the town deed restrict the usage of their property before they sell or lease it? So that's really the questions that I have and that I'd like you all to think about. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else that I can't talk to? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, George.
Mayor, I'm here today to complain about fraudulent schemes and practices and extortion.
Sir, could you please speak
Yeah,
into
you
the
need to get up there.
microphone and provide your
And
name?
you need to tell
and-
us your name
I
and,
know you're not law enforcement, but
could you tell us your name, sir,
yes,
before
my
we get
name
off?
is Michael Gary Snell.
Michael,
Gary.
Barry, and Snow as an,
Snell, S-N-E-L-L.
okay.
And essentially, these are the transcripts of the tape recordings made in Judge Catherine Kelly's court starting in September of 16 until current. Essentially what happened was...
Hold it a minute. I think we're done with discussing this because this person is a contract employee of the town. This is not the forum for it. We'll pass, if you have an issue, there's our town attorney over there and you need to take it to our town attorney.
Okay.
This is not an open discussion item at all. So let's take all those
Can I
back.
get your phone number?
Let's have those.
Come on, Jim. Mayor wants all that stuff.
Could you pass those down to your attorney, please? Thank you. Okay, anybody else would like to speak?
Give us back our microphone.
Please be kind to us tonight, would you?
I'm not trying to be mean.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
Okay, I'll try to be mean.
I'm not a very good...
Well, see those police officers back there? You never got out the door.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Mark Vucic, 853 North State Route 89 here in Chino Valley. Just wondering to find out if there has been any information gathered on the traffic studies for Road 2 North yet. I see that they repaved the post office parking lot. I lived right behind that. Trust me, that was fun. Anyway, just looking at all those big trucks, thinking about if this developments go in, how much damage they're going to do to 2 North. It's already potholes and everything by Safeway. With all that construction and so forth, and then trying to think in my mind how they're going to restripe it to get an extra lane. It's very, I'm kind of confused. But anyway, I was just curious if there was any new findings on that.
Okay. I can't tell you.
I know you can't. You can't talk to me. Thank you.
Next time. Okay, anyone else? All right, let's go on. Response to the public. Response to the public is an opportunity for the mayor to inform the public about how town official addresses matter raised during call to the public at a previous meeting. We have no response to the public. We'll have several next time. Current events, summaries, and reports. This item is for information only. The mayor, any council member, or town manager may present a brief summary or report of current events or ask a staff member to provide the same. Presentation of information requested by the mayor and council will be made and questions answered and no action will be taken. All right, do we have a status report by the mayor and council? Anybody on this side?
I got all I want to say, though.
Okay.
On behalf of the council, I'd like to go ahead and thank all the mothers. And this coming Sunday is Mother's Day, and take the time to call your mother or your wife and all your mothers-to-be. It's just one day of the year, and they do so much all year long for us. So on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank the mothers in our community.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else this side?
No.
This side?
You have anything? I do.
This side. Go ahead.
As chair for the Utilities Committee here in town, I'm happy to say that our sewer treatment plant renovation of our filtering system is complete and running very efficiently, and the guys all did a great job.
Good on you. Good on you. Okay. I have something. Citizens Academy, the final day is Thursday. The wrap-up session, myself, Vice Mayor Best, Town Council members, town manager Cecilia Gritman. You're invited to come to the session. We're going to sit down and let all these folks ask questions of us that are in the Citizen Academy. Also, we have to finish up. Last week, we canceled Citizen Academy because Cecilia was ill. She was really ill, so she's going to finish up what we should have done last week. So if you will, please come Thursday at 6 o'clock right here. We're in the process of selecting or reviewing for the magistrate selection process and town council selection replacement process. We expect to go through that the rest of this month and part of next month, and hopefully we will be able to hire somebody on 6/27. We will bring out our magistrate select choice, and also we'll seat the person chosen for the council. So we should have that process done. So the committee is going to be the appointments committee is going to be really busy, and then we've got some other things we need to do too. So we're trying to arrange our schedule now to get everything done that we can over the next 2 months. These are both are very important positions in the town, so we don't want to take them lightly, and we want to spend enough time to do it right. So you'll hear something about that at the end of June. All right, let's go on. Town manager, I think you have some things.
I do. We have a couple things I'd like to bring to your attention. First off, I wanted to let you know that the senior center put in for their NACOG grant that they get every year. This is the biggest increase I think we've gotten in a long time. For next fiscal year, she got an additional $25,000 for food from NACOG to cover their daily lunches as well as their Meals on Wheels.
Cool.
So that was one thing. Secondly, in the email I sent you last weekend, I talked to you about the Bright Star well and the Country West well. And I've asked Public Works Director Richard Straub to give a little update on the progress of changing out the pumps and motors and for that. So, and then I've got some new employees we want to introduce.
Sure. Thank you, Richard, for coming.
Mayor, Council Manager, as you all know, we have two primary sources of water here in Chino, the Country West well, which is a smaller one, and Bright Star, which is our larger well. About a week or so ago, we started noticing Bright Star well was falling in production. Our utility folks looked at this and decided we have a problem. The problem basically is the submergible well pump that's down in the water, down about 600 feet. So we developed a plan with a contractor to go in starting this week, going in there and removing the old well, replacing it with a new pump, not well, but pump, coming up from about 600 foot to about 400 foot elevation. Now, associated with that, our other well is at Country West. It is a much smaller pump and well. We had the contractor actually replace the small motor that's in the pump with a larger pump to produce our capacity to serve as a reserve while our big well is down. Bottom line is, the little well is producing more water now as a good backup. We're going to be going into the big well tomorrow and starting work on that. Our town crews have been going in, doing some modification and upgrading of both facilities. Now, we have about 1 million gallons in reserve. We're using maybe 250 to 300,000 a day. So we have about a 3-day reserve. And our small well is putting back about 200,000 a day. So we're in pretty good shape right now to make sure we don't run out of water. As backup, we have contacted the city of Prescott and said if we have a catastrophe, major fire or whatever, can we tap onto your well system? And we do have permission to put a meter on a fire hydrant, run a fire hose from that under Road 2 North to one of our fire hydrants, and recharge our system from the city's well. So right now, I think all is well. It's going well, and we shouldn't have any disruptions in the next few days, and our water should be back to normal just in a few days.
Questions? Thank you.
question. Thank you.
Okay, C.
Mayor,
Yes.
we're not done yet.
I
I
can't get
wanted-
nobody lets me talk.
I wanted to tell you that Finance Director Joe Duffy tonight will be having a budget talk with the council tonight, but tomorrow night we have an additional meeting where the department heads will be here for interactive discussion with the department heads. And then lastly, we do have some new employees we wanted to introduce tonight. Jamie, why don't you start with your staff, and then we'll have the chief up here.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Greenstreet. She's our new deputy clerk, and this is the council. And Michelle comes to us. She was a deputy clerk in the city of Skagway, Alaska for quite a long time. And so we are just thrilled to have her here. She's picking up on things real fast, and she's excited to be back in the clerk universe, the clerkverse. And so as you come in and call, you'll be hearing this new voice. And we'll get you all introduced individually. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you, welcome. Thank you.
Chief, would you like to introduce your new employees?
Chief, please come down here and. Come on, ladies, don't be bashful.
The new faces of the department. This is, since she's already up front, we'll start with Tiffany Farmer. She talks a little funny. She's from Ohio. If you, well, I'm getting to that. We are being overrun. We now have 4 Ohioans in the department, and if you recognize Miss Farmer's last name, that's because her brother Stephen works for us, and her niece Gabby is the young lady that's had all the medical problems.
Remember when he tried to arrest me?
Yes, he tried to arrest Jack. That didn't go well.
No.
At all. So Tiffany's actually going to be my new recruiting poster child, so if I can just get her hair to be one color, so I'm still working on. Next up is Jay Murray, also originally from Ohio. If he looks familiar, he used to wear one of those ugly brown uniforms until about a month ago when we stole him from the sheriff's office. So, you know, you guys may have met him on the side of the road at one point or another. So he used to patrol this area for the sheriff's office. So, and last but not least is Miss Sophia Newton. She's a rocket scientist graduate from Emory-Riddle University. I'm not really sure why she wants to be a police officer, because she's smarter than the rest of my department combined. She speaks like 73 languages, and so these are the new faces you'll see around, and we're happy to have them on. Sophia and Tiffany just finished their field training and have been unleashed on the community. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. I got to give Tiffany a plus. She recognized me the other day. So. I know. It only took her 3 times that I introduced myself. Okay. Anything? Jamie, you want to say anything about item C on the current events?
Only if you have questions. It's
Anybody
just
have a
this
question about the
standard
Scrivener
protocol.
error thing?
Just required to report when we make a correction to a document that you've
Yeah.
previously
So all
approved.
that paperwork in there is for a correction that was made. No questions. Okay, let's move on to consent agenda. All those items listed below are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Any council member may request to remove an item from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. Is there anything on the consent agenda you'd like to remove?
No, sir.
Anybody on this side? Can you get her attention?
You want anything removed, Danny?
No.
No. Thank you, Aaron. All right. Town clerk, would you please read the consent agenda for us, please?
You bet. 6A, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 17-1101, authorizing acquisition of drainage slope and temporary construction easements from Kurt Wells and Jay and Jerry Wilmore located on Yavapai County Assessor's parcel number 306-03-002M, 306-03-002N, 306-03-002K, 306-03-002Q, 306-03-002, 306-03-002R, 306-03-002S, needed for the Old Home Manor right-of-way improvements project. B, consideration and possible action to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Town of Chino Valley and the City of Phoenix to provide Chino Valley access to Phoenix's Transaction Privilege Tax Data Analysis Program for data supplied by the Arizona Department of Revenue regarding Chino Valley taxpayers. C, consideration and possible action to adopt Resolution Number 17-1100, amending Resolution Number 08-862, Section 2, purpose of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board related to including assistance to town staff and event planning and fundraising activities. D, consideration and possible action to accept the April 18, 2017 special meeting minutes. E, consideration and possible action to accept the April 18, 2017 joint study session minutes. And F, consideration and possible action to accept the April 25, 2017 regular meeting minutes.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept consent agenda items A through F.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Let's go on to 7 action items. The council may vote to recess the public meeting and hold an executive session on any item on this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431-03A3 for the purpose of discussion or consultation for legal advice with the town attorney. Executive sessions are not open to the public, and no action may be taken in executive session. A, consideration and possible action to approve ordinance 17-831, rezoning approximately 2 acres of real property generally located 400 feet west of Road 1 East, Yavapai County, APN 306-14-001N, from AR5 Agricultural Residential 5-acre minimum to CL Commercial Light, subject to a condition requiring right-of-way dedication of 25 feet from East Road 3.5 North, adjacent to the property. Owner, applicant Michael Connor Mace, Ruth Mayday Development Service, and there he is. You're going to tell us about this agenda item.
Yes, I will be presenting this
Thank
agenda
you.
item. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Before you have an application, a zone change. The applicant, as stated, is Mike O'Connor Massey. The applicant is requesting the zone change from the current zoning of agriculture residential 5-acre minimum to the commercial light. Mr. Massey recently acquired a 2-acre parcel that is located here. Mr. Massey currently owns property to the east of it and to the north of it as well. And I will be bringing these properties up later on. The purpose of this zone change is to keep the properties consistent with each other and have a balance of the properties. Here is the surrounding zoning. The properties to the north are zone commercial light, which is the zone change that the applicant is proposing. To the east, we have the same commercial light, and then we ease into agriculture 5-acre minimum. To the south, we have a balance of commercial heavy and commercial light agriculture residential 5-acre minimum. The property is currently designated with a designation of commercial, multifamily residential in the general plan. the proposed zone change will be consistent with a land use designation. The applicant has gone through the citizen review and public hearing process. He was able to notify the property owners within a 300-foot radius. Those property owners received letters notifying the dates of the neighborhood meeting and the public hearing, both P&Z and Town Council. On March 8th, the applicant had a neighborhood meeting here in Town Hall. There was the assistance of one individual. The property owner to the west of the subject property attended that meeting. She was wondering what the reason for the rezone was and what plans the applicant had for developing this parcel. The applicant presented his proposal to Planning and Zoning Commission on April 4th, 2017, and was able to answer those questions that the commission had. As the council recalls, back in February 2016, council approved several protected development rights plan. Among them was properties that Mr. Massey owns. Again, this property here and this property here. The zone action does not join the property to the PDR plan, nor does it afford any of those rights afforded by the plan for this property. In other words, if Mr. Massey will want to have the PDR included to the parcel that is the subject parcel that we're speaking about, he will have to come back to town council and amend the PDR plan. I believe that the applicant is not here, but if council has any questions that I may be able to answer.
Okay, let's start.
Sir?
Any questions?
I didn't see in here what P&Z's outcome was.
They just said recommended action.
They did recommend?
They recommended.
I missed it, I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, as staff recommended forward to town council with approval of a zone change for parcel 30614-001N from agriculture residential 5-acre minimum to commercial light with a conditional of 25 feet dedication of right-of-way on East Road 3.5 North.
I see it now, thank you very much.
Okay.
Those are for me.
Anyone on this side?
Was the neighbor's questions answered satisfactory?
Yes, they were.
There are no questions. I'm going to ask for a motion.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 17-831, rezoning approximately 2 acres of real property generally located 400 feet west of Road 1 East, Yavapai County APN number 306-14-001N from AR5 agricultural residential 5-acre minimum to commercial light.
Is there a second?
With the right-of-way of 20, designated for 25 feet.
Okay.
For-
Now is there a second?
Gotta add the road in there.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let's go on to action item B, consideration of possible action to approve agreement for professional consulting services with EPS Group for Phase 1 Master Planning Services at Old Home Manor Industrial Park in the amount of $24,300.
Mayor, Council, I'm going to try and walk you through this as much as I can. Ruth Mayday has presented this previously to the Economic Development Committee, which is a council committee, as well as through a study session to you. I just highlighted through this PowerPoint, can you go to the first slide? Some of the essence of what this contract is. Some of you may remember we were looking to contract with a engineering / planning organization to do some work out at Old Home Manor for the industrial park. We decided on the EPS group. The first phase is $24,300. I think in your packet, there are, all the phases are outlined, and it was a little shocking to some of you when you saw the cost if we decided to go under contract for everything, which we're not. So this contract that we would do for phase 1 would begin the work on June 1st, and it would be completed by the end of this fiscal year. Next slide, please. This just kind of outlines some of the project approach that the group is going to take, working with the different stakeholders throughout the community, real estate agents, different interested parties out on the property, et cetera, and just bringing it all together on the different types of things that we'll be doing out at the industrial park. Next slide, please. This just kind of outlines some of the steps that the group is planning on taking for the phase 1. And I don't know if you guys have any questions on this. If you do, we can bring it back later. Otherwise, I think it's been presented to you a few different times. And
It has. We've discussed it several times. Do you have any questions on this side?
No, sir.
Questions?
No, just a comment that I am on the Economic Development Committee, and we did search through this pretty thorough.
Yes, we did.
And one of the, I think the key points on here is the stakeholder and the public participation in this, because there are some that obviously have interest in what's going on out there, and this would be a good opportunity for them to participate in as we go forward.
Yeah. Okay. No further questions?
Mayor?
Yes.
I do have one concern about this, and I expressed this to Ruth. Because we are only doing phase 1, I would recommend that we strike through all of the other tasks that are listed on this exhibit, just to make sure that it's clear that they are only doing phase 1.
Fine. It sounds great to me. It's a good idea. Okay, we will strike through the rest of them. We're only doing phase 1. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve agreement for professional consulting services between the town of Chino Valley and EPS Group for Phase 1 Master Planning Services at Old Home Manor Industrial Park in the amount of $24,300.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Executive session. Council may vote to recess the regular meeting.
What you got to hear, Joe?
You've got
Oh, do I have to listen to Joe?
Did Jack pay you off?
This is a
Pretty good, Jack.
conspiracy
Pretty good.
against Joe.
I'd like to move to item 10 now, if we can.
I almost got us there, but it didn't work.
We are a silly council.
Okay, presentation, possible discussion of the preliminary budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2018. Thank you. Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'd like to just do a brief presentation, more of just the 30,000-foot level, but to just let the community know what we're facing and what you're facing as we get into our budget this year. We'll get into a lot more detail tomorrow at our typical budget hearing, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up, maybe save a few minutes in tomorrow's meeting, not having to do it there too also. So basically our budget this year is we're increasing our total budget by about 6%. We're going from a $23,400,000 budget to $24,739,000. Now, this year I did break out public safety because, as you can see, it's increased 13%, and I'll get into a little more detail there. Overall, our general fund budget went up 6%, and then our HERF budget has gone up 13%. So I guess in the big scheme of things, our budget is increasing, but not accelerating very quickly. We're trying to keep our staff count down. Basically, after the retreat, you guys gave us direction to fix what we have, do what we have right, do things correctly, and that's how we sort of put the budget, the guidelines of putting the budget together with all the department heads. The general fund, we're rolling over an estimated $333,000, and this is new. Typically, when we roll money over, and for the community, that's money that we haven't spent, that we budgeted to spend and we didn't, so we have extra money left over every year. What we've been doing for the last 5 years is using it to build up our reserves or our savings account. Well, now our savings account is fully funded. Council has set a policy and said it needs to be 25% of the expenditures in each fund. We're way over that now. We have a nice, healthy savings account or cushion for if we ever have to face an economic downturn. We've got a good rainy day fund, I guess, to put up to. So this year, for the first time, we're recommending that we just roll it over and spend it in next year's budget. Okay, so that's a philosophical big change from how we've been budgeting so far for the last 5 years. Our required reserve is $2.3 million. We have $3,247,000. Now, and understand, even though we've budgeted to spend that money, I expect to be standing up here this time next year saying we're going to be rolling over $350,000 or $400,000. So even though we budget to spend things, we don't actually spend everything we budget. We only spend the money if we have to, or if it's a project that council says, let's get this one done. Our contingency funds have gone from $400,000 to $440,000, and that's just because they have to go up percentage-wise as our total expenditures go up. Public safety is probably one of the biggest hurdles that the council's that we're facing this year. One is we're doing a police officer market adjustment across the board to bring our officers up to what the area's wages are for all of them. We had a big PSPRS increase, 26%, I believe, to about 33%. And one of the things I want to discuss tomorrow night is the possibility of, if this time next year we have funds left over, if we roll money over, that we actually start buying down that PRS unfunded liability. Currently, it's about $1 million. It's not even close to what Prescott's facing with theirs. But if we can just start putting some money towards it, 10 years from now, the council that's sitting in 10 years from now will look back and go, wow, these guys are really smart. It was a great thing to do. So, and of course, we need police cars. We had another one die this last week, and so I budgeted to lease purchase or basically borrow money to buy at least 6 police cars. The HERF fund, the revenues increased from $890 to $920. We're using $105,000 of carryover. Now, the HERF fund, if we don't spend the money one year, it just automatically rolls into the next year. So that's traditionally how we've always done it. We've made a big change in our overhead. This budget year, we charged the HERF fund $200,000 of overhead, engineering fees, and just all the expenses that it costs to run that department. We've reduced that in half, and now we're only charging the HERF fund $100,000. The goal being that we can put that $100,000 into road materials and on the street. Okay, so to get increased more funding on the roads. We added $50,000 for highway maintenance, so we actually broke out the amount of money it takes to maintain Highway 89 from end to end. Weed whacking, weed control, and just everything that you see those guys do. Currently, we're doing half, and we're paying a contractor $25,000 a year to do everything, I think from Center Street down. What we're recommending is that we go out to bid with one contract for the entire portion, and we're paying about $25,000 now for the southern half, so we think we'll pay about $25,000 for the northern half. And then with all these changes, we're able to increase the road materials budget from $125,000 to $250,000, so that we'll have some money to actually do some chip seal or whatever the road committee decides to do. The water enterprise funds, we just plugged in $2 million for a potential water system acquisition if one becomes available and we move down that road. We just recorded the revenue as we're going to borrow the money and the expense, but nothing happens if we don't do anything. We've reduced the capital improvement fund subsidy from $75,000 to $25,000. And as you know, the water system owes the general fund, I think about $1.4 million in total for all these years, because the general fund's been subsidizing it. But we've been able to slowly tick that down. And I think growth by itself over the next couple of years will actually get the water system to break even. The department's done a fantastic job as far as managing expenses, but it's just water usage, water growth, all the new homes that are coming on our system, those will all help. Right now, we've increased this last year, excuse me, went from 658 counts to 701. So, we're adding 20, 30, 40 homes a year. That's going to get the system at least to break even. Now, the sewer system, we completed the Molly Ray and One West sewer. As Councilmember Turner mentioned, we completed all the filter upgrades, about $350,000 this year. Clearly will be in the black next year, and that's even with conservative revenue estimates, but with the number of homes being built in Molly Ray, Highlands Ranch, and Bright Star coming onto our system, we're definitely going to be in the black. And so hopefully by December, I'll be able to come to you and say, hey, let's look at our rates. Maybe it's time. And once we see those revenues for sure, I think, we're getting very close to that. Our accounts increased from 1725 to 1744, and I believe that was through April 30th. Our capital improvement fund, we're rolling over $70,000. We're transferring $400,000 to the general fund this year, as last year $150,000 to aquatics, but we increased the amount for the police department, and that was really to pay for the PSPRS increase. And the capital improvements fund, as you know, is the 1% sales tax that gets over and accounted for in its own fund, and has specifically by council resolution has to be used for certain things. And police officers and aquatic recreation center, that falls under those categories. In that fund, we have by drainage projects and grant matches for the EDA and Old Home Manor things for $143,500. One of the things we'll talk about in detail tomorrow is our equipment needs. And we knew after the retreat that police cars were our top priority. So we put in for 6 police cars. Hopefully Vince can get them for under $50,000 a piece, fully outfitted. But I went ahead and opened it up to all the other departments, and I asked them for their wish list. And that's what this is. This is the equipment that they said if they could have, they would want. But I'm also asking them to come back to you. I think we ought to order the police cars as soon as you guys say it's okay. But for the rest of the equipment, I think we need to have the departments come in and say, really justify the need. And whether we purchase it or not, that decision needs to be made next fiscal year. I'm going to recommend that we go out and RFP for a line of credit for $725,000, but if we don't spend it, that's fine too. I mean, I'm sure we're going to buy a few pieces of this equipment, but I don't think we'll be buying all of it. So, as I said, I went to the departments, they gave me their wish list, and if we do it, I'd almost wait to do it this time next year on some of those pieces of equipment. So, but let them justify the need. Yes, sir.
Talking about 6 police cars, how will our fleet look then of police cars? I know we've got some real oldie but goodies in there.
Well, Vince will tell you we probably need 12. I don't want to speak for him.
And I'm not surprised.
But 6 will be a nice shot in the arm. And I've been sort of saying this every year. We really need to get to the point where we can just buy 2 police cars a year. Yeah. If we could do that, our fleet would stay relatively modern and clean. I mean, even 8 cars would be great, but 6 gets us sort of caught up a little bit. It helps. It does help. So, and we do have some schedules to show you all the detailed number of miles for each car and stuff like that. Okay. I'll have for you. One of the other things we do is this is all your interfund transfers, and I won't go into detail. We can talk about it a little bit tomorrow. But as you can see, we move money from like the general fund to the HERF fund, $75,000 to help with road materials. And the capital improvement fund, which is our 1%, those are the $250 for the police, the $150 for the aquatics, and $25,000 over to water. And then we also move money from that 1% fund to pay our general fund debt service. So all our general obligation debt, or general fund debt, I guess, goes over there. And the only thing coming back into the capital improvement fund is we have $498,000 worth of road impact fees left. And I know we're planning on using those on the Road 1 East Callanage extension. But that's all the money we have left. We no longer collect impact fees. And we do need to use that money as soon as possible. So I'll just go through the first slide here. I have one for each of the major funds. But as you can see, every year we budget, like last year we budgeted to have $8.5 million worth of revenue and $8.5 million worth of expense. We thought our fund balance last year at this time was going to be $4,776,000. Well, in the second column over, the estimate column, we budgeted 8.5, we brought in almost 8.4, $8,486,000, but we only spent 8.1. And that's usually what happens every year, because we over budget, we overestimate, and we don't do it, we just make sure we have enough to cover, but we always add an extra 5% just in case. And when that all shakes out, we have money left over. So that's where we ended up projecting about 8.5 million in revenue, 8.15 in expenses. So we're going to have that $333,000 left, give or take. This is just a rough estimate, but it's going to be very close. And as you can see in the next column, I rounded that up to 339,003 just to make the numbers equal zero. But we're projecting 9.2 million in revenues in the general fund this year, and 9.2 in expenses, just to keep the revenues and expenses even. But if you look at our fund balance at the bottom part of the screen, last year at this time, we thought we were going to end up with 4,776,000. We actually ended with 5,053,000 because we rolled the money over into our savings account. And this year, we're projecting we're going to end with 5,047,000. So we're pretty much going to spend everything we're going to bring in plus a little bit from last year, but our fund balance is going to stay even year over year. And I have all the rest of the slides I won't go over, but the HERF fund, capital, water, and wastewater, they all sort of roll that exact same way. So with that, the next few things, tomorrow night we have our budget hearing. On the 23rd, we do have another one tentatively scheduled if we need more time. I think on the 16th or 17th, the next week after. May 23rd, the council will adopt a tentative budget. We publish it for 2 weeks, and then on June 27th, we hold our final public hearing and adopt the final budget. So,
Questions on this side?
No.
Questions on this side?
yeah.
Thank you.
So tomorrow, our plan is just to go through the net changes within each department and just talk about all the related issues on it. So.
I really appreciate the budget, and you and your staff do, and you make it simple for the council, but I've looked through a lot. You do a heck of a job.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
And we'll look forward to seeing it tomorrow evening.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, can I go on now? Jack, can I go on? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No.
Executive session. Council may vote to recess a regular meeting and hold an executive session which will not be open to the public for the following purposes. An executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431-03A3 for discussion or consultation for legal advice with the town attorney regarding enforcement of zoning ordinance number 13772 and pursuant to ARS 38-431-3A4 for discussion or consultation with the town attorney in order to consider his position in contemplating litigation or in settlement discussions conducted in order to avoid or resolve litigation in the matter of right-of-way dedication and road improvements required for Martin and Pamela Messenger. I need a motion to go into executive.
I make a motion to go into executive session after a 10-minute break.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's take a break. Huh? We're gonna go home. Real sharp.
See you, Elizabeth.
Yeah. You need to sign what they do, stipulating the time, and then it comes out. Okay, so we're just waiting.
Okay. Thank you.
We are back in the session again. We went into executive session. We did not make a decision in executive session. We gave direction to our attorney, and I'm ready for
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
That's my favorite part.
Drum roll, yay.
Good to see you.
So we got to sign.
Thanks, Richard.